Good morning, students. How you all are? Hope you all are well. In today's class, we are going to start a new poem from the book Beehive. Poem A Legend of Northland, written by Phoebe Carey. Okay, students. So, this poem is a very beautiful poem with a beautiful moral. So, first we will discuss about the significance of title legend. It means old traditional story. Northland. Northland means an region near North Pole. You all have studied in the geography that region near North Pole, है ना? They are very cold places in the earth. So basically, this story is an legend, that means old traditional story from the Northland, that means an area near North Pole. This poem is written in ballad. Ballad is a song narrating a story in short stanza. Ballads are a part of folk culture or popular culture and are passed on orally from one generation to next generation. बैलेड क्या होता है? ये एक पोएम होता है जो कि एक सॉन्ग के फॉर्म में लिखा हुआ होता है, एंड बेसिकली इट इज़ अ ओल्ड ट्रेडिशनल स्टोरी. So I hope you all have understood it, and now we will start discussing the poem. Okay. Away, away in the Northland, where the hours of the day are few and the nights are so long in the winter that they cannot sleep them through. Away, away. Away, away means far, far in the Northland. Okay. You all have studied in the geography that in the winter region or region near the North Poles, days are short. Okay. Day are few means days are short and nights are so long. Even the poet is saying that nights are that much long that it is not possible for them to sleep throughout the night. Here, pronoun they is used for the people in the Northland. So, one more time I am repeating. Poet is saying that far, far in the Northland, where days are short and nights are long. So, basically, in this paragraph, poet had tried to set the atmosphere of Northland. Now we will move towards our next paragraph, second paragraph, where they harness the shift reindeer to the sledges when it snows, and the children look like bear's cub in their funny fury clothes. So we will discuss difficult words. Harness, it means to tie, कुछ चीज़ बांधना. Reindeer, you might have seen reindeer, है ना? It is an animal that normally seen or found in a cold region, that too specially near North Pole. Sledges, it is a cart vehicle. आप लोगों ने देखा होगा सेंटा क्लॉज जिस व्हीकल में बैठ के आते हैं, that special vehicle is called sledges and it is drawn by reindeer. And the poet is saying that the children, okay, they look like bear's cub. The reason behind that is that it is a very cold place, so the children there, they wear the furry cloth, है ना, the woolen cloth. Because of it, they look like bear's cub. Funny fury clothes are used for the furry woolen clothes. And in this paragraph, you can see that word funny and fury, it starts with letter F. So it is pair of alliteration. So basically we can see that in the paragraph 1 and paragraph 2, the poet had tried to set the atmosphere or setting of the Northland. Moving towards next paragraph. They tell them a curious story. I don't believe it's true. And yet you may learn a lesson if I tell the tale to you. Word curious means very interesting. Tale means story. Now we will discuss about the pronouns used here. They. They means people in Northland. Them. Them is referred to the children. है ना? We had seen in the previous paragraph the poet was talking about the children. So the pronoun them is used for the children. I. I means poet himself. Okay. And you means we all. So what poet is saying here? He is saying that the people in Northland, they normally tell a very curious story, that is legend, and poet does not believe that this story is true. Anyhow, according to the poet, if he will tell the story to us, although it is not a true story, but definitely we will learn a lesson. That means we will get a moral. Clear, students? Now moving towards next paragraph. Once when the good Saint Peter lived in the world below and walked about it, preaching just as he did, you know. So once, the poet is starting to tell the story, and here the main character of the story is introduced. He is Saint Peter. Saint Peter is an apostle of Christ. That means these Catholic Christians, they have believe in the saints, and this Saint Peter is one such person. Poet is saying that he is good. Okay, good Saint Peter lived in the world below. World below, that means पाताल, है ना, नीचे की दुनिया. Okay, world below. And what was his work? He walked and preaching was his work. Preaching मतलब उपदेश देना. Okay, so what poet is trying to say? He is introducing the main character Saint Peter, who is a very good person who lived in the world below, and his work was preaching. Clear, students? So now we will move towards our next paragraph. He came to the door of a cottage in travelling round the earth, where a little woman making cakes and baking them on the heath. So he means Saint Peter. Cottage means a small home. Hearth, it means a चूल्हा बोल सकते, as we are talking the days far and far when microwave, oven, OTG, they don't exist. So basically hearth is a fireplace where a lady was baking the cake. Clear, students? So what our poet is saying, he is saying that the good Saint Peter, he was traveling round the earth. Okay, as his work was preaching, so he was preaching, he was moving round the earth and preaching, and then he came to the door of the cottage, and this cottage belonged to a woman who was baking cake on the heath. So in this paragraph, our second important character, who is a woman, is introduced. Next paragraph. And being faint with fasting, for the day was almost done, he asked her from her store of cakes to give him a single one. So he, this pronoun is used for Saint Peter. Faint means tired होना, है ना. Okay, so what poet is saying, he is saying that Saint Peter, he has been fasting for the whole day, so he became very much faint, very much tired. So what he did, he asked the woman to give a cake from her stores, है ना. As that woman was having many cake, so from her store he just wanted a single cake. Okay, so now we will see that what this lady is going to do. So she made a very little cake, but as it baking lay, she looked at it, and though it seemed too large to give away, she means that lady, we had seen in the previous paragraph, it is said, means poet had said store of cake. Store मतलब उसके पास एक से ज़्यादा केक था, बट शी डज नॉट वॉन्टेड टू गिव दोज केक बिकॉज उनका साइज बहुत बड़ा था. सो वॉट शी ट्राई टू मेक अ little cake. Little cake means a small cake. She take her baking tray and started to make a new cake. And she made a new cake. But when she seemed, that means when she looked at that cake, it was too large. है ना? Means उसके पास पहले से ही बहुत सारे केक थे, but she does not wanted to give those cake. So she made a little cake, but when it was baked, it was too large. Okay, so now we will see what happens in the next paragraph. There she needed another and still a smaller one, but it looked, when she turned it over, as large as the first had done. Needed means आटा को गूंथना. Okay, so what she did, she again taken some flour and made the dough and tried to make a small cake, smaller one, है ना. But what happened, when again it was baked, it was as large as the first cake. So उस लेडी के पास ऑलरेडी बहुत सारा केक था, बट उसने एक केक बनाया, बट वो केक छोटा था, बट बेक होने के बाद वो बहुत बड़ा हो गया. Again she did the same thing, and what happened, again this cake become very large. Then she took a tiny scrap of dough and rolled it flat and baked it thin as a wafer, but she could not part with that. So again she means that lady, she had taken a tiny scrap of dough, मतलब डो का बहुत ही छोटा सा हिस्सा लिया, रोल्ड फ्लैट एज अ वेफर. वेफर मीन्स जो आप चिप्स लेते हैं पैकेट में, आप देखते हैं वो बहुत ही थिन रहता है ना. सो व्हाट शी डिड, शी रोल्ड द डो एज थिन एज वेफर, बट कुड नॉट पार्ट विद दैट. मीन्स अभी भी वो जो केक है वो उसको बहुत बड़ा लगता है, एंड शी इज़ नॉट रेडी to give that cake to Saint Peter. For she said, my cakes that seem too small when I eat them for myself are yet too large to give away, so she put them on the shelf. So what she means, that lady, she's saying my cakes seem too small, मतलब वो जो भी केक्स बनाती है वो उसको बहुत छोटा लगता है. कब, when she eat it for herself, but whenever that lady has to give away the cake, it seems too large. Okay, so in this paragraph you can see the greedy behavior of that lady, है ना. जो अपने खाते वक्त उसको वो केक थोड़ा बड़ा लगता है, बट वेन एवर शी इज़ ऑफरिंग दैट केक टू समवन, she is feeling very difficult to depart from it, and that cake seems to be a big cake. Then good Saint Peter grew angry, for he was hungry and faint. and surely such a woman was enough to provoke a saint. Provoke means to make angry. So again, poet is talking about good Saint Peter, है ना? Our good Saint Peter grew angry, मतलब उनको बहुत गुस्सा आता है. The reason was that he was hungry and faint. Okay, that was the reason he was asking for a cake, and that woman, she was not ready to give away the cake. So it was just like provoking a good Saint Peter, and now our Saint Peter is very much angry. Okay, students, moving towards next paragraph. And he said, you are far selfish to dwell in human form, to have both food and shelter and fire to keep you warm. So what he means, Saint Peter is saying that you are very selfish, है ना? We had seen that that woman was very greedy, very selfish, because she is not ready to give a single cake from her store of cake. So what our Saint Peter is saying, that she is not dwell matlab capable to live life like a human, because it is normally said food and shelter, it is the basic requirement of a human being. So what Saint Peter is saying, he is saying that she does not have ability to live like human. She should not get food, shelter and fire to keep her warm. Fire is and warm is also important in the cold region. So according to Saint Peter, this lady है ना, she should not have food, shelter and fire. So now we will see that what our Saint Peter is going to do with the lady. Now you shall build as the birds do, and shall get your scanty food by boring and boring and boring all day in the hard dry wood. So what Saint Peter is saying, you means that lady. Now she have to live life of birds, है ना? अब सेंट पीटर जो है चाहते हैं कि वो एक बर्ड की जैसे लाइफ को लिव करे. मीन्स हाउ इज़ बर्ड्स लाइफ, दैट स्कैंटी फूड मतलब बहुत थोड़ा सा खाना. स्कैंटी मीन्स वेरी लिटिल. द birds get scanty food, that too with great difficulty, by boring and boring. आप लोगों ने सुना होगा बोरिंग मशीन के बारे में, जो कि धरती को ड्रिल करता है. सो इन द सेम वे यू माइट हैव सीन वुड पैकर जो होता है वो भी वुड पे बोरिंग करता है. दैट मीन्स वो वुड को ड्रिल करता है कंटिन्यूसली, बोरिंग करने के बाद उसको स्कैंटी फूड मिलता है ड्राई वुड पे. सो बेसिकली यू कैन सी दैट इन दिस पैराग्राफ द गुड सेंट पीटर है ना, ही इज़ गिविंग अ कर्स to that lady, that she will live her life just like a bird. Then up she went through the chimney, never speaking a word, and out of the top flew a woodpecker, for she was changed to a bird. So finally Saint Peter had given some curse, and what happened? Suddenly that lady, she है ना, went through the chimney, and it is not possible for a human being to went through the chimney. कोई इंसान उड़ के नहीं जा सकता. But how it became possible? Because now she is a bird, she is a woodpecker. Okay, so you can see that in this paragraph the good Saint Peter had given that lady a curse, and that curse had made that lady a woodpecker. Moving towards second last paragraph. She had a scarlet cap on her head, and that was left the same, but all the rest of her clothes were burnt black as a coal in the flame. So poet is saying that that lady, she was having a scarflet cap. Scarflet is a fabric, है ना? So that cap remained there, and rest of her clothes, it had changed to a ashes in the flame. Okay, students. And every country schoolboy has seen her in the wood where she lives in the tree till this very day, boring for the food. So what poet is saying that country schoolboy. If you remember that the second paragraph the poet was talking about the children. So again poet is saying that all the country schoolboy, all the children had seen her in the woods as a woodpecker, and now as due to the curse of Saint Peter, she is only doing the work of boring for the food. Clear, students? So I hope you all have enjoyed this poem. Now students, you can do one thing. You can start writing question answers, and if you have any doubt, you can ask it to me. Thank you, students.